Okay, first of all, welcome to the round table, guys, everyone.
Thank you.
So,
Thanks a lot.
thanks for coming and giving us the time. Uh, so, it will be great if you could introduce yourself and what work you guys are doing right
Thank you
now.
for having us.
Yeah, we'll start with Vaibhav and Deepak and like Himanshu and Karan. Yeah.
All right. Firstly, thanks a lot for inviting us over. My name is Vaibhav. I'm the founder and CEO of Underdogs Gaming Studio. We are right now doing B2B and B2C both, but compared to B2C, B2B is quite heavy right now because of the lockdown. There are a lot of requests. We started back in 2011 as a service-based company, but then eventually started making games for ourselves as well. So we work on almost all the platforms. In case of B2B, we have made over 200 games for clients across India.
Hello guys, this is Deepak Gurujala, CEO founder of Clam Games. So I have started this company in 2016. Then we are like totally into premium games and free-to-play games. So then we are a team of currently we are of 10 guys working from Hyderabad, and we used to work from a small town called Guntur. Then we made quite a few hit games such as Keyboards Origins and Bombirka. So we are one of the teams to win back-to-back IGDC awards, and the first Indian team to win a Casual Connect Award in London for our game Bombirka. Currently, we are working on a couple of premium games simultaneously, and along with a hyper casual game for a couple of publishers. So this is about us. Yep.
Yeah, over to you, Himanshu.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Himanshu. We are the tiny indie studio called Sigma Games. Our main focus has always been the premium games. We have released games on iOS, Steam, and currently we are going to publish on Switch and trying to get on consoles as well. Our first game was Super Nano Jumpers, which won the Pocket Gamer Connects in 2015. And later we released a game called Rubik, which was a puzzle game. And the last year we released the Bonfire for Second Lands, which has been our most famous game. We have crossed over 1 million downloads recently on Android for
Nice.
Bonfire for Second Lands. And we are currently working on the sequel for about 2 years now. And towards the last stretch of that project at the moment, we should have released that game by now, but it got delayed due to many reasons. So we are just working on it currently in this lockdown situation and hoping to get it out by June and July.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Karan, yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Karan. So I've been an entrepreneur in the games industry for over 6 years or so. My previous startup was called All in a Day's Play. At All in a Day's Play, we were developing trivia and casual games. So across the lifespan of All in a Day's Play, we did around 20 million downloads. My current studio is called Firescore Interactive, and my co-founder is Surajit, and in the industry he's known as Babo. In fact, in life he's known as Babo. But at Firescore Interactive, our focus is on hyper casual games. Recently, we launched a game in partnership with Crazy Labs called Soap Cutting, which became the number one game and the number one app on iOS on Christmas Day.
Okay. So thanks for the intro. Now I'll just shoot my question, which I have already. So how you guys are coping up with the lockdown scenario? How being the indie studio, how you all are coping up with the lockdown scene? Yeah, Weber. We'll start with Weber.
So we were not really familiar with the work from home culture. We are more into we were actually because the team is quite young. A lot of times, I mean, all the time we the core team had to guide the young people in every aspect, right? Because physical, and that is where the physical space used to be very effective. But since the lockdown happened, we actually struggled a lot for the first 1.5 weeks, just to set up right tools so that we can do everything digitally. But after that, I think it's smoother. It's a bit slower than the usual process, but it's smoother. We introduced a lot of tools which helped us to take the whole process digitally. Apart from that, in terms of business, I think, like I mentioned, right, we currently don't have any games which are there on the app stores. We are in the process of building a couple of games. One of our a hybrid kind of a casual game which might release in a week or so on Google Play Store. But we were in a process of developing those games, so nothing really impacted in any way, like in not even in positive or negative way on the app stores as such. But something strange happened for us in B2B was we got on around 5x of 5x amount of requests from people from India, the brands, the agencies, the gaming companies. Everybody wanted to utilize the lockdown period and make smaller games on app stores or HTML5 like web-based content. So we got into that. Like we halted a lot of our work and just utilized the opportunity to work on that particular stuff. So right now, I think lockdown for us in business is going quite well, not impacted at all for us. It's just that the work has been very, very slow compared to what we could have done in physical space.
Okay, over to you, Karan.
So I actually second what Vaibhav said. The work, I think, especially initially when lockdown happened, was slower. Um, I still feel, in comparison to being physically present in office with the entire team, the work is slower. We're trying to become as efficient as possible, and like Vaibhav, in we do not have experience with work from home, and maybe many companies don't, but we're trying to get used to it. From our perspective, the thing is that work is not slowed down at all. I mean, there is still ample work, and we're as busy as ever. In fact, more so now probably, because there is no split between office time and home time. It's work, and I mean, there are, of course, distractions for every member while they are at home, because there are so many people at home. So they will come, they'd want to talk to you. You have to take responsibility at your house to get groceries, to help out with other household chores. But in general, I think for us, the team has coped really well. What we do as a strict routine is we try and have a daily meeting every so we make sure that we all know what our tasks are for the day. We all know what we did the previous day. We have deadlines that we adhere to, and we're making use of tools that are widely available.
Okay. Okay. Himanshu?
So we are the tiny studio of 5 members, and it hasn't been that difficult to manage. The real challenge has been to like some guys not having internet, some guys not having proper infrastructure or the laptops at home. That has been the main challenge for us. That we were not prepared in the starting, but later on, as the weeks passed, we all came in and started using Slack and started using tools that helped us to get on board and to collaborate even better. So I think it has definitely slowed down the process for us, like a lot. If we would have been present physically in the office, then we can easily change. If there's a small change, we can easily give feedbacks and easily get back to each other. But the process has been now it takes longer. It takes more time to give each other feedback and then correct it and how we want it. So it's definitely taking more time. But yeah, we are able to work now. Like our sound guy has been stuck for no internet for past 2 weeks,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, so that has so we had this kind of challenges which has delayed our game. So yeah.
Yes, Deepak, I know a lot of things happening. That's why I came to you last because I would
I'm in
want you to
a big
share every
situation.
bit of it. Yeah.
I'm in a very weird situation that unlike Vaibhav, he took a decision on March 15th to send everyone home. And I told my team that like the same March 15th or 16th, I told my team like next week will everyone leave to your home, we'll work from home. So March 22nd, we had a single day lockdown, and March 23rd, I told them fine, tomorrow you guys leave to your hometown. That's what we had a discussion. And the same day, government had told that from tonight 12 a.m. like we'll have a lockdown. So what happened was all my teammates were stuck in the same office. I mean, recently we shifted to Hyderabad from Guntur, so we were accommodating everyone. So fortunately, they were in same place. So thank God that everyone is in one single place and everyone is working their best to give the product. First 1 week, they were so depressed. I mean, a bit depressed because they are not with their parents. They are worried about their parents, and same way their parents are worried about them, how they are going to cope up. So yeah, work was little slowed down for 1 week, but next 5 weeks they were encouraging me that sir, bro, it'll be fine. We'll take care of it. That kind of situation. So instead of having weekly meetings, we used to have a meeting on Monday and Saturday or Monday or Friday evening. But currently, due to this situation, where I am stuck at my home, my team is stuck at office. So that's a weird situation here. So every day morning we're having a meeting, and instead of like Himanshu using Slack, we are using Jira. Um, then we use Skype for communication. So this is how we communicate and do the work currently. And as far as now, the company is taking care of the whole accommodation, food, all the needs which are required for the team. And from yesterday, government is giving us permissions to leave the state. So now one by one, they have starting to leave from the office. They are ready to work from home. This is what happening in brief. This is what in brief they told you what's happening with my office. Yeah.
Okay. So now that you are comfortable with the work from home culture, do you think it can be the norm going forward, as in some work dynamics can change, like Weber? Yes.
Yeah, I think this is going to like, I don't know what will happen next, but we are preparing ourselves for at least for to continue this for at least next 5 6 months, because unless and until it's like very smooth, because a lot of people in my company also, they travel say around an hour from their homes to the studio, right? So, and being in Mumbai, it's tough because of the local trains that they travel through, and it's very risky. So even if the lockdown goes away now, we wouldn't be in a position to start the studio, or like we wouldn't expect people to come to the studio once the lockdown is done. We will have to put a hold for a couple of more weeks or a month or so, unless and until it's all done. So for us, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get better and better in this whole digital situation, and making sure that at least next, even if we have to do this for next 5 6 months, we are quite good and settled doing this.
Okay. Over to you, Karan.
Um, I feel like it could become the norm for a few studios. Uh, I wouldn't want to operate like this full time, to be very honest. I prefer being in a collaborative environment where there are people around me and we are bouncing off ideas each other. We're physically present, and there is a culture of openness as well. And that I think in general leads to sort of great ideas. It leads to camaraderie, which in turn leads to having a great company, right? Your team being in sync with one another is ultimately what gets the company to progress. But it could be something that is done more frequently, because maybe now I would be initially I was very against sort of hiring someone remotely. It would be a struggle for me to operate with someone remotely, and just focus on that, on the work that that person is doing. But now that I've got used to it, now that I'm in the habit of it, I'll definitely be more open to it. I think the advantage for working with people remotely is that not many people in general want to move to Bombay, because Bombay is an expensive city. So in order to attract great talent, sometimes you have to take this compromise of them working remotely. And if you're comfortable and if you're in the habit of working remotely, then definitely it works to the advantage of the entire company eventually. So yeah, it's a bit on and off from my perspective.
Okay. So, what about you, Deepak?
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a slight change in dynamics. I mean, we are not new to remote working and all technically. Like one of our game called Qbots, we were only two guys, me and Mahesh. So he used to stay in Nellore and I used to stay in Mumbai. We worked for 8 months technically, except 1 month he came down to my place and worked for us. So 7 months we were on video call, talking to each other, and we made that game somehow. So it is not a new situation, but I'm little worried. Like as Vaibhav told, in 5 months it might continue. So we are thinking, we're estimating for next 2 to 3 months it will be like this. They will be at their home working from there. I'm not, worried about my experienced team, the team here, but the new guys who just joined. So it will be a little tough to explain them what's going on. So 1 week back, we had a little miscommunication. So the project went haywire. So we have to rectify a lot of things. So there are mistakes in collab, and these kind of mistakes will definitely happen when you have new members in team. And we are a company, we encourage remote internships. So currently I have two teams of remote internships, like overall 8 guys. It's happening from past 1 year. Instead of taking them to summer internship, winter internship, like taking them physical candidate inside the office, we encourage all the colleges to send remote interns. So we are used to this. There'll be slight deviation in the dynamics, but we are fine. We are absolutely fine. We are on time with all the projects properly. Yep.
Okay. So, over to you, Himanshu.
So I agree with Karan that even I would like to prefer to be working in the same space as others with my team members, because I believe that it's a very game development is a very creative process, and you need a lot of back and forth feedback, and that instant feedback is very important. But currently, since we are at the end cycle of our game, it hasn't been as difficult compared to what if it would have been a very start of a game, where the ideation process happens, and when we are just brainstorming, or we are thinking of the new ideas that how to about the game design. Since we are at the end cycle, all things are defined. We already have all the plans that we need to work on. It's just we have to execute it one by one. So it's not an issue for us for another, let's say, another 4 5 months. We can go on working like this. But on the long run, I would prefer to be working in the same space rather than in a remote places.
Okay. Okay. So, any specific trends that you have seen in games played or for longer during this lockdown? Uh,
Uh, we have seen increase in downloads, especially on Android, and even the conversion has been higher. Some guys, what I heard is the conversion hasn't been that high, but the engagement has definitely increased for a lot of games. So yeah, same for us. Downloads have increased significantly,
mhm.
and we were little hesitant in the starting that if we should release it, if this is the right time to release the game or not, if we should go ahead, and because but I think people are seeing better results in terms of, like, this is one of the industries which is actually doing good.
Okay.
Exactly.
Over to you, Karan.
So for us, so we have this real money application on the Google Play Store called Pocket League. It's a platform where users can come in and play simple games and basically play to win cash prizes. So on that app, we haven't been doing any marketing as such, but we've definitely seen a significant increase in the organic installs during this lockdown period. It's doubled, in fact, the number of organic installs per day. Another thing that we've seen on that particular app is the number of sessions per user has increased as well. So I think in general, what is happening in the industry, at least from what I've heard, is that on platforms where there is social interaction or there is multiplayer gameplay, the usage and the number of downloads have increased because there are, of course, more and more people looking to play against each other. But definitely in single player apps also it's increased, but it's not as significant as it is in multiplayer games. Another thing we've seen is that at least for the last 15 days or so, we've seen that the CPI, the cost per install on a couple of our apps have gone down as well.
Okay. Okay. Over to you, Weber.
No, we like as mentioned, we don't have any games on the app store, so we for us there's no change as such. It's just that we're getting a lot of requests from the B2B side.
Okay. Deepak?
So as even we don't have any games currently running. I mean, most of our games are under testing phase. As Karan told, like, yeah, there is a huge rise in multiplayer game, esports, RNG, rail money games. So yeah, the best example, Indian game Ludo King became one of the biggest sensation in last 4 weeks. It's already big hit. Now it became sensational stuff. So and as yes, we had testing 3 games. All of their game CPIs was so low. And yeah, because of this lockdown, so most of the European country developers are down. So they're at home. They are unable to work. So what's happening is US-based, European-based, and Chinese-based publishers are approaching Indian-based companies. So literally in last 40 days, we were approached by 20 plus companies to make hyper-casual games. So you can see the demand on hyper-casual games, literally. And they're ready to pay a lot more than the actual prices for the development costs. And they're ready to give a little extra revenue share. But they want the game in 2 weeks. So by this we can estimate that how strong the hyper casual, ultra casual is going on right now in single player segment. And now the new trend is started again. The puzzle is coming up. So there are a couple of puzzle games which came around 20-30 cents, and I mean which should be more than 50 cents in CPA. So the trend is changing a bit again. So that's it.
Okay. So my next question is, going forward, big studios will take time to get back to full scale production. Do you think it will be the year of the indies? Because since their operations are more flexible, like I have always been thinking of it. And yeah, over to you, Vaibhav.
I don't I don't know. But I mean, I've been talking to a few bigger studios as well. So last week I happened to have a call with Sumit also from Moonfrog, and along with him other people who own bigger studios. But seems like what I feel is everybody has adapted to the situation really well, and for us being a small studio having around 8 to 15 people in a team, we realize how difficult it is now to do this work from home thing, but managing a team of 100 people making games, I think it's a lot more tougher for these people. But they have the way they are explaining things, or the conversations that I'm having with these people, they have adapted it really well. So I don't think there there would be any issues for them as well. I just hope that this will be the year for the indies because of the kind of games that all of us making. Like Deepak just mentioned about the hyper casual publishers. Even we are working with around 3-4 publishers right now testing our games. So the demand is huge. The people making quality games are less. Like even in Western countries, they are not finding a lot of people who are actually doing it, and that is why I think the demand for the Indian developers is huge right now. Let's just hope that a few of our games get as big as soap cutting.
So
It'll
with
get a
soap
lot bigger.
cutting, yeah, Karan will need your inputs as well.
Yeah, so obviously gaming is in the limelight now, and everyone is looking at this space even more actively than before. Um, I don't think that the big studios are at a disadvantage. I feel like they must have, and they probably do have amazing processes in place in order to handle the situation. And they are definitely seeing this as a great opportunity to double down on whatever their targets were. Everyone is gaming literally at this point. So it's definitely very encouraging signs for the industry. As far as independent studios are concerned, like Weber was mentioned, definitely the amount of B2B work that would be coming in must have increased. It has increased for him, and I'm sure for other studios it must have as well. Because there are so many other companies to looking at gaming in order to just fill the gap, so to speak. Because, for example, what do you do on, say, a Dunzo if you can't send the guy for groceries, right? You add gaming basically just to keep engagement going on the app. So, and the case is similar for many different types of apps where the core functionality of that app is basically redundant at this point during lockdown. So what are they doing? They're trying to add games onto their platform, and thus B2B gaming studios are will probably do well. In terms of indie studios who are producing their own titles, like Himanshu, for example, I think it just I don't think there has been a significant change even for us. I think it just boils down to our talent, our creativity, and what we come up with in the next few months. So I don't think for us it has changed anything as such.
Okay. Over to you, Himanshu.
Yeah, I agree with Karan that big studios are not at all at disadvantage. They have years of experience doing this, and that has and they have streamlined the process very well. What I've heard is that they have been having daily discussions and daily on the games and everything. So it has been good for them. Like it has since the engagement has increased, it has been a positive side for them, and they have been managing it very well. They are not at all at disadvantage. Small studios, I believe, we have increasingly seen better and better quality over the years from the Indian indie studios, and we will continue seeing that in the coming time as well.
Okay. Deepak.
Yeah, I mean, your question was, will this be the year for indie studios?
Yes,
I
that is
would.
the question, Deepak.
No, that's what the point is. We made a mark last year itself. Quite a few indie studios in India, they made their big marks last year,
Mhm.
right? Like winning big awards or releasing an Apple Arcade or something. See, I consider in Indian gaming industry, so
Is all about creative people. So yes.
yeah, we are like two eyes,
Yes.
indie and big studios.
Yeah,
So
both are equally
yeah,
important. Both are equally important for the ecosystem to exist. One pushes the
exactly.
creative boundaries, and one pushes the mass. Everyone get hooked to the games. So I
Yes.
think these are the both sides of the games,
True. So
which is good. Yeah.
the amount of premium games released by indie studios in India is so higher than any big studios currently, right?
Yeah.
So they have a vast knowledge on how to do UA. They have funds on how to make it bigger. So they have strategies to go further. But indies, yeah, we are little impatient in many things, but we are creative in creating games much faster and in a bigger segments. So this year, trust me, from Raji, Bonfire are our games. So there are many premium games lined up. Trust me, if there is no lockdown, by now we would be showcasing our games in GDC or anywhere. Like you would be seeing the real content. 2020, even with the lockdown or without lockdown, this is a big year for indie guys in India. So, yep.
Okay. Surely you guys will carry forward. And my next question is, surely the post the lockdown, some users would erode with which were gained during the lockdown. But do you think this period could be habit forming and it will give you some more users post the lockdown? I mean, some of them will stick to the games, or
Uh,
yeah, Vaibhav.
Look at
Um,
this.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Um because we don't have games right now. But as far as my understanding goes, like I think uh, the it would be like it should affect in a way how Uber has affected Uber or Ola has affected the people. Like they were not really, like if you ask me about 2 years back, people were not really playing a lot of games. Then PUBG came in. It made like everybody a bigger crowd to start playing games. Along with that, there are streamers who came on board, people who started playing games and streaming them on the platform. So I think rise of PUBG was something um, that brought a lot of gamers in the ecosystem who started playing games. This is just a very big example of what I'm trying to tell you is like this is temporary period for sure. Bigger companies are trying to utilize as much as they can from this boost that they're getting, but it's like just yet another boost that you get during a featuring of a game or something like that. So when you get a featuring, you get a spike in your downloads. It's a similar kind of boost which is happening right now. But yeah, I think because people people are getting used to playing these social and multiplayer kind of games, probably they might continue, some percentage of it probably might continue playing games and probably hook towards gaming as their one of their time killing thing. So I think yeah, it might affect gaming industry in a positive way because of this.
Yes.
Actually, there are, there are two things which are, two talks are going throughout the world saying that, like, currently there is a huge rise in female users in this segment because of lockdown. But post lockdown, there are metrics or journals, like people are saying that, like, they are done with uh, sitting at home doing some Internet of Things or playing games or watching some OTT stuff. So there might be sudden drop post lockdown when it comes to gaming. So they want to go out, spend more time with their friends, physical interactions. So these kind of things might happen too. So there are two sides of a coin. So we have to see both the sides. But I hope because it's lockdown, the female users have rise like anything. It was too good. Yep. Currently.
Uh,
Uh, yeah. So from my perspective, I think that the Indian gaming industry, um, the gaming industry as a whole, in fact, has acquired new gamers. So the people who have never gamed and never played games before, and they've come in and they've started playing games now. Just from my personal examples, my mom actually is a huge Candy Crush player. She's competing on the leaderboard with her friends all the time. Okay. But now during this lockdown phase, she's actually moved on from Candy Crush and she's playing other games as well, which is great to see from my perspective. She still doesn't play my games, but that's a different story. Another thing is, even in my friends groups, so we never actually played remotely on PlayStation, but now with this entire group, we're actually playing Football Manager, we're playing Fortnite, we're playing FIFA, we're playing Rocket League. So we're exploring a bunch of these games that we are actually playing together. So I think that while the industry has acquired new users, uh, and I get Deepak's point for sure that the usage may not be as consistent as it is now. There'll certainly be a habit that is formed amongst these users, and they may not play as frequently, and they most probably won't play as frequently because they won't have this much time on their hands. But they will game at least more than what they were pre-lockdown.
okay. And Himanshu?
Yeah, so this lockdown has definitely increased engagement, and new users have started coming into the gaming and trying their hands on the gaming. It has definitely increased the scope and for the new players. And yeah, I think post lockdown, it will retain like some of its users and habit forming, as you said. it will have an impact on that. So we will retain some of the users who were playing some hyper casual games. They might start exploring some other genres due to the increased time during this lockdown. So we might see people branching out to different genres, and we might see more awareness about the different kind of games that people start playing due to this. So yeah, I think overall it will have a positive impact only. There's nothing to like worry about that we'll lose some users. Yes, we might, but they were not a user base from the beginning. So I don't think there's anything negative that's gonna come out of it. I only see positive out of it. Yeah.
Technically, my whole family is playing the Ludo Club and Ludo King. It never happened in my. I mean, they never played together. They're sitting there in the hall and they're playing all of this. And most of the families. So, it will be a habit, as Himanshu is saying, that after post lockdown, they'll have a half an hour or 1 hour time. They'll play together as a family. So that will be a big plus point in this lockdown situation.
Deepak, if you choose a red token, you win. Huh?
No, I'm not playing this Ludo, man.
And also hopefully this will change some of the perspective for the families, like Indian families who see gaming as sort of a kid's activity or something that you do just to do time pass and not as a hobby or something you're passionate about. So hopefully this time also changes that, since they also start playing.
Even the education related apps are becoming big. The gamified educational apps.
What are the indies facing as some of the major challenges in the country right now?
I think I don't feel there are any what I've been because I'm connected to IGDC as well. The only problem that I see is connecting with people on a very face-to-face level kind of a thing. Like for us, for indies, it's always beneficial when we travel to events and go to events, talk to people, meet people, make connections in physical spaces, right? That's something very, very important for us, and that is how we are growing the network and everything. Digital is good, like it's fine, but it's not as impactful as those things. So I think cancellation of GDC was one of the biggest impact that has happened. Like these guys mentioned, right? There are I think around 6-7 companies from India who were all set to showcase their games, and all of them were really good into GDC. And if that would have happened, a lot more exposure would have like these people have got a lot more exposure because of those events. So I think because of this lockdown and not traveling and everything, the impact that has the impact which is not being in events or events not happening at all might be a big loss for people like us. Apart from that, I don't think there's any issue in work as such. But yeah, networking I feel is one very important part of the growth for us, which is going to be affected.
You were asking about some issues with the indie studios, right? In general, you're asking, right?
Like in general, irrespective of the lockdown?
Yeah, irrespective of lockdown, there are a lot of things which are, and I'll speak about all the indie studios in India. I don't want to talk about Seeklam games. So most of us, we don't have enough funds. The biggest issue is like we don't have enough funds to continue the company or continue the project, because we'll estimate it like we'll complete the game in 2 months. But technically, no gaming studio can finish it in 2 months, including the bigger studios. They'll take extra time. For indies, it'll be like 5 months, 6 months. It might take longer and longer. So do you have funds for that? We don't have. So indies are facing that. Second thing, it's finding the right talent. It's very biggest task for any indie segment. So the standard set by the bigger studios, they have certain salary limits, and they have certain standards, and we can't give it. We can't give huge price for a fresher. They're able to give us, and we can't give. So that's one big thing, and all the right talent, a bigger talent, they want to stay in a bigger infrastructure buildings. They want a bigger salaries, lakhs and lakhs. The imagination is so high. So they can't work for 6 months or 1 year or 2 years with the
Okay.
lower studios making better games. No, they can't think that. So we are missing that right kind of talent. And the third thing is very minimal knowledge and post production. So we are really good at, like, all the Indians are really good at pre-production, making the concept, thinking about the concept and how to make a game. They are like superb, amazing creativity. Like, fine, in production phase they'll see YouTube, GitHub, everything. They'll make the game. And post production, like 90% of indie studios, they think that, like, if I send it to 100 friends of mine or 100 relatives, these things will make my game into top charts. In post production, we have a very minimal knowledge. So and we require a lot of funds for market. I mean, very poor knowledge on marketability of whether it's a premium game or a free to play game. See, Himanshu is very experienced guy in premium game. Trust me. So even I learned from a lot from that guy. So Vaibhav is very good with free to play. I learned from them. So I know these guys how to contact them. I learned from these guys. But other indie studios, smaller studios who just opened 2 months back or 3 months back, they are reluctant to call the other studios. They won't call. They think that we are awesome guys and we just release the game, and they don't know that other studios will copy that, clone that game, and they release it, and they'll make that hit. And finally, a few people will make agreements signed. They'll sign few agreements with the publishers. They won't even read it. Without reading, and they sign it, and they lose their game end of the day, and they'll close that company, and they'll just join in some IT companies. So there are many problems we are facing, Poonam. We are facing a lot of problems. Somehow, experienced guys like this in the panel, like, we are making some moves to make it better. That's it.
Karan,
I think so. I think Deepak actually touched upon all the issues that indies are facing. I'll just reiterate on what he said. So, firstly, of course, survival is a basic but a huge challenge for indies, right? We need to hang in there. We need to hang in there till we get our next game out, or till we get our next 3 games out, because you never know what is going to happen with the next game, right? So, survival in terms of having enough funds is a huge issue. Now, there are definitely ways to deal with this. You could have a hybrid approach where you're trying to do B2B and B2C, which we've done before. And I mean, we have survived, and there are times when survival is your only aim as a studio, and then you can sort of go on to make bigger and better games. So that is one thing. Another thing is that maybe we can tackle this issue of survival by having grants, or maybe have bigger studios sort of help out indie studios, especially the ones who are talented and require help, but for whatever reason are not able to fund their development. That is one challenge. Another challenge that I think indies who are just starting out in the industry face is a lack of knowledge on distribution. And again, this is something that Deepak touched on, but everyone coming into the industry has this misconception that, you know what, I will release my game and it will basically kill it, right? And we always think that, okay, uska game nahi chala, lekin mera chalega. Okay, there's this false belief, essentially. It never works like that. It's extremely difficult to stand out in the market in today's day and age. It was slightly easier back in 2013, 2014, when you could grow slightly organically. But right now, there are people spending millions and millions of dollars every single day to get their app noticed. So for you to actually succeed like that, there is like 1 in a zillion chance, literally. So there is definitely a lack of knowledge on distribution. And I think this is somewhere we can also come in as indie studios who are more experienced, or even the bigger studios can come in and just make people aware of what the realities of the market are, because we always talk about the good side of the market, but never does any information about the bad side, about the people who have failed while trying to make games. That sort of information never comes out. So we should make people aware of these things as well. So yeah, so these are things from my perspective.
Uh, Thank you. Himanshu?
Yeah, I totally agree with Karan. The biggest challenge for indie studios is always about the survival. Uh, so it's always about the next game. It's always about like how much we're gonna make from the next game, and then if that game makes us enough, and so that we can survive for at least 1 to 2 years. And all this along with, we need to keep on increasing the scope of our games as well. Even we need to keep on increasing the quality of our games. In order to do that, we need to hire more people, and to grow organically is very tough. It's super tough to grow organically and doing this on the side, since we don't do any services. We only focus on our products, and every product we take about 1 to 2 years. We give it enough time, uh, so that it takes time to actually polish to that level, so that we can release it to the global market, to be on the upfront on the consoles and Steam. We need that quality, and we need that time for that. So I think that experience is also somewhat lacking currently, for these indie studios to release on these platforms. Also, the one more challenge is we can't get our hands on the Switch dev kit and PlayStation dev kit, so we have to go through the publisher route, or have an office outside India, which is not very possible for an indie studio. So they only left us the option to go with a publisher, which the deals are sometimes not good. If you're lucky enough, you will find a publisher who will give you decent, like somewhat okay deal. So you have no other option. You have to go with that. So I think these are the challenges currently being faced by by the indies to actually grow from organically, and to keep on increasing the quality of their products. Uh, all the newcomers who wants to get into game industry, just think that 50% is about making the game, and the rest 50% is also about the selling the game. It's about knowing your market. It's about knowing your genres, your audience, what you're targeting, what channels you are targeting, what devices. That is very crucial. How it operates, what is featuring, how Steam functions, how Switch features. All this is insight is very important. Without all this knowledge, it's very difficult to even last. Like even for the hyper casual, you need all the information, that what is CPI, all the terms, what is retention you need to have. So all the newcomers, it's not like you'll just make a game and it'll be successful the very next day. It requires a lot of efforts behind it, a lot of study behind it, market study, market research. So yeah, a perseverance and persistence is the key, is all I say. And stick to your product, believe in yourself, and keep progressing forward. Keep making one product at a time, then try to increase your scope next time. Yeah, and hopefully it will do good.
Literally,
One thing,
as yeah.
yeah, one thing. Sorry, I just missed the question and kept talking about lockdown. But I just want to add one thing, because these guys have covered it all, almost all the problems that Indian indie studios are facing. But one thing that I feel is very important is the success ratio is lesser, because like Deepak just mentioned, that they hesitate talking to other people. What I feel is the amount of collaborative effort that Indian independent studios have is way less than what people in the West are doing. Like the examples that we've seen in the countries like Australia or Finland or Germany, the developers, they go out of the bounds to help other developers and do stuff for them. In India, like we say, there is a lot of what we feel is there's a lot of product ego that everybody has, and that is why they don't reach out to each other. We've been facing this problem since last 5 years, where Karan and me, like we had Karan had his another studio at that time, but even Himanshu is aware of this thing, where we had to run a lot behind App Store guys to figure out how to get your game featured. That was one biggest headache that we had at that time. Fortunately, few of us collaborated and figured out ways to how to connect, and then shared those emails and contact people with each other. So I think that quality is one of the biggest thing which is lacking right now, and people are not approaching each other in that particular aspect, thinking that ye game chori ho jayega, and I don't know what reasons that they have, but collaboration is, I think, is missing. Because of that, success ratio is less.
Okay. So we'll slowly we'll move to our last question since we are running out of time. So moving forward, like post lockdown, what we can think of?
No, you're already, again, you hung up there. Like, can you ask the question again?
Yeah, yeah. What would be the way going forward post the lockdown? Hello?
We got it. We're just analyzing the question.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, okay.
I know that Deepak is sending his employees to vacation for a week or something.
I am planning for 10 days to 2 weeks of holiday to my whole team. That's what whoever's stuck at office. Whoever is working from home, they don't have any holidays. They have to come back. We have taken quite a few steps for my the whole team. We are giving a lot of things. Anyways, the question is not about that. It's post that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Currently, like, we are going to look forward to how to raise the funds, and how to finish the game as soon as possible, and approaching most of the publishers to grab the market. And yes, I really don't want to cut anyone's salary nor fire anyone just because of lockdown. So good thing that I learned from my seniors who are sitting here there, and so that having money for next 1 year or at least to 6 months of reserves, that will save our company. So we are in good position. And yeah, this year you can expect 2 premium games for us from us, along with at least one hit hyper casual like soap cutting. We are looking forward for that. And till date, we signed 6 to 7 publishers till date, and we're looking forward to cross it to more publishers, make more diversified signs with them. And we want to sell the games. I mean, rather than having it to us. I mean, when it comes to hyper casual, not premium games, we'll have our own product for premium games. That's it from my side.
Dude, I'm sure you'll do much better games than soap cutting and much bigger hits
Thanks,
as
man.
well.
It means a lot. Thanks, man. Somewhere new to soap cutting, that's fine for me.
Dude, you'll do better for sure.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
So, what about you, Karan?
I think honestly, it's back to normal then. I don't see anything changing as such. We may consider remote hires, like I was saying. But besides that, we want to grow the team a bit as well, add 3, 4 more people and add better talent as well. But yeah, honestly, that's about it from our end.
Okay. Vaibhav?
Even we are scaling up. I think around 4 or 5 people will be joining the company. We have even we did this remote internship programs. We started that also. So we right now have around 7 to 8 interns who are not in the studio, but they're working remotely, and they will continue working for the next 3 months. We have already analyzed a couple of them who can join us full time once the lockdown is over. But in terms of space, I think we, like I mentioned, we wouldn't be in a position to have 100% of the company in the physical space in the studio once the lockdown is over. Probably 2-3 of us will be in the studio, so it will be happening gradually for us. But in terms of the company and the structure, we are also testing out few prototypes with these publishers. Probably something might be confirmed very soon, and we might get into a full production for that particular game. Also, we are releasing one game which might be live in a week or so on Google Play Store. So we're hoping to nurture that game very well, because it's become kind of a good game. We were not expecting it. We just picked it up during the lockdown, but worked really a lot on that game. So might nurture that game as well. And B2B on the other hand is going on really well, and that is the reason we want to scale up, because otherwise everything is to the core team and we are working on the B2C. But for B2B specifically, we'll need a lot more people, and that is where we are going to hire more people in the next 3 months.
So for us, we have been developing Bonfire 2 for the past 2 years now.
Yes, Iman. Yes.
And the Bonfire 2 has been in development for almost about 2 years now. The team has worked really hard on this game. We have pushed all the boundaries that we could ever think was possible for a small team like us. This will be our biggest project till now. We have scaled the gameplay, the game design. We have scaled it to just another level. Hopefully it does well for us. Fingers crossed. Because a lot will depend on this game, that how we'll move forward from here. We have invested a lot of time on this, and we are planning to release this around June and July on iOS and Steam together. Things are looking good. We have been getting a lot of positive feedback we have getting a lot of interest since it's a sequel. We already have a user base which already know about the game, the Bonfire. So yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to release the game, and hopefully everything does well. Moving forward, we'll also be hiring moving forward, we'll also be expanding we will be hiring 2-3 guys after the launch of the game, and hoping everything goes well. Yeah.
All the best, man. All the best with the Bonfire.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Just Annar.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us, and I'll share the links when it is up. And
Great.
yes, thank you all for joining me.
Thank you, Poonam, for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you for having this amazing panel. Actually,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you, guys. See you
Thank
soon, hopefully.
Yes.
Sure.
See you
All
soon.
right. See ya.
You.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.